Sarcastically explained. Yasuke. Yasuke is a story of how one enslaved black man by circumstance found himself in Sengoku, Japan, and became a samurai retainer to one of the greatest daimyo of all time. Yasuke is a story of the underdog, a story of brotherhood, a story of betrayal, a story of battles. Yasuke is perhaps one of the greatest stories never told on screen. And it still is. Because this anime is not a biopic. The show takes place in the afterwards of what we do know about Yasuke for sure. So before we dive into that story, let me give you a little crash course on Yasuke. Yasuke was born in Southeast Africa. Yasuke was sold into slavery. His Portuguese masters took him to Japan because of an ongoing trade dispute between the Ming dynasty and the Ashikaga shogunate. The Portuguese act as middlemen and life goes on as normal. Ah, right, this is about Yasuke, not trade wars of the past. Yasuke becomes a local celebrity because of his enormous stature and height. Okay, it, I'm not gonna tiptoe around it, you can see it, I can see it. It's because he's black, okay? Is that kinda racist? Yeah? But before you start judging 16th century Japan with your 21st century ass, keep in mind Yasuke was literally the first black guy in Japan ever. How are you gonna know how to act right in front of someone of an entirely different race when you just found out that race existed 15 minutes ago? So let's cut them a little slack, okay? Of course, the big man himself, Oda Nobunaga, gets wind of this and demands that this mysterious black man be presented to him because he can't quite believe black and brown people exist. Everyone's like, my lord, he's real. And Oda's like, nah. Despite the, pasty white Portuguese guys who definitely don't look Asian and thereby imply the existence of other skin colors. So Nobunaga does the only reasonable thing a 16th century daimyo could do in the situation. He has Yasuke stripped from the waist up and scrubbed, just to check if he's the first white guy pulling an instance of blackface. Nobunaga was just really ahead of his time, okay? But thankfully Yasuke is not Justin Trudeau, and it turns out he is indeed actually black. Shocker, I know. And because Oda Nobunaga is super woke now, he decides his staff needs to be more diverse. And thus he hires Yasuke as one of his samurai retainers. And that's all the backstory you really need because the show takes over here and things start to get a little bit f***y. I'm not really going to delve too deep into it because it is considerable spoiler territory. So I'll just give you the actual historical version which somewhat lines up with the show. Basically one day, Akechi Mitsuhide, loyal general to Nobunaga, betrays him. A betrayal in the Sengoku period? A shocker, I know. Yasuke fights valiantly to save his liege lord, but to no avail. So he flees the scene to Nobunaga's successor and son, Nobutada. But of course, that pesky Mitsuhide really knows his stuff and had an attack set up there as well. Once again, Yasuke fights valiantly, and of course it's pointless and Nobutada loses his life too. Captured, Yasuke can't even commit ritual suicide because Mitsuhide was really fucking racist and said he's non-Japanese and an animal. His words, not mine. And so Yasuke's told to f*** right off, back to the Portuguese dudes, and that's where his story ends in real life. Okay, and now back to the show's timeline. Like, you don't really need to know Yasuke's story 100% to get into the show, but it does give you a really good idea of his character and motivations. Yasuke's dejected and lives his days out as a drunk in some small village trying to forget the past. When he's sober though, he has a pretty steady gig as a boatsman, ferrying people to and fro. The townsfolk generally know him and respect him for his honorable nature. But as most anime go, this peaceful life can't last. Basically, local village girl Saki has psychic powers, but they're making her seriously ill. Her mom Ichika tries to recruit Yasuke to take him to the next village, but that's not before a Russian bear woman, an African shaman, mech, and whatever the hell Ishikawa is, show up to try and abduct Saki for the weirdo Catholic priest dude who serves the Dark Daimyo, who is a magical being that summons armies of the undead and mechs. What? If that sounds completely and utterly insane, it is. But when I first saw it, I honestly didn't think it was that weird. More on that in a sec. Will Yasuke succeed in his reluctant mission? Oh yeah, Yasuke said yes to the mission, by the way. Well, once again, watch the damn show to figure it out because I'm trying to have a few less spoilers in these videos. Now, why is all this magical and technological f***ery in the show? Well, for that answer, we might have to step back for a second. There are a ton of historical Sengoku Jidai media produced. I'm not only talking about anime here, I'm talking about live-action TV, film, literature, plays, video games, the list goes on. Heck, even some of Japan's homegrown productions need to take liberties here and there to an extent to stand out sometimes. Inuyasha does come to mind. While I'm of the opinion that Yasuke's true story on its own is enough to merit adaptation, obviously the bigwigs at Netflix don't want to hear a pitch about a generic samurai anime. Not that Netflix has a great track record with that period anyway. Sorry, still a little bit salty about that documentary series. And yes, documentary was in air quotes. But overall, is this show worth checking out? I'd say yes. This is a show by MAPPA, the animation company that did Jujutsu Kaisen and the most recent season of Attack on Titan. So at least you know you're in for some good fight animations. In terms of voice performances, honestly, the voice cast nailed it in English. Lakeith Stanfield and Maya Tanida take the cake for me. Also, if Stanfield's name sounds familiar, it's because he was in that god-awful Death Note live-action adaptation. And I'd argue his portrayal of L and Willem Dafoe's portrayal of Ryuk were carrying that movie pretty damn hard. Only, it was too heavy because of... Light. Turner. Netflix, I have such a love-hate relationship with you. Okay, but back to Yasuke. If you're something of a history buff like myself, I'd say leave your expectations at the door when it comes to magic and mechs, and you'll have a much better time for it. I think LeSean Thomas and company have nailed Yasuke's character while reasonably staying within the parameters of what went down in real life, so do check this one out. Thanks for watching. Hey guys, Eric here. Hope you liked that video. If you did, remember to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and maybe, just maybe, check out all those links below. Thanks for watching.